What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So I'm talking about card prices and asking the question in this video, why do we as the Yu-Gi-Oh community constantly need YCS events and ARGs to kind of reconfirm to us what we already know? Why do we need them to kind of be like validation for, playing certain cards, or for telling us, yes, this card is still good? And obviously that is showcased by the card prices. When a card goes up, it tells us that generally these are what people are playing and what they're looking for, and this may be a good card. Now, let me make a quick distinction. It has never bothered me at all when we have old cards that like shoot up in price, or maybe we have a card that is out of a new set that used to be cheap, that was maybe overlooked, and then people start finding good uses for it, and then the card price shoots up, because that's kind of how the game goes, and certain cards are great in different formats. Like examples, Breakthrough Skill was worth nothing when it came out, and then people realize, holy crap, this card can be used twice and can be used from the graveyard, and it's amazing. And then the ultra shot up to like 10-15 bucks. Same thing happened with like Forbidden Lance, and there's tons of examples throughout the history of Yu-Gi-Oh. Hell, just recently, remember with like Lightning Chidori and Spell Canceller, like last format, where those cards were like $35 plus because they were hard to get out of Cosmo Blazer and Magician's Force, etc., etc. But I'm even talking about I'm talking specific situations where cards that we know are good, cards that we know you can't even, that you never really want to take out of certain decks, they'll drop in price, and then after a YCS or an event, they'll skyrocket back up, and it's like, wait a minute, did we forget that this card is necessary? Did we forget that the card was like amazing? All right, so I've got a couple of examples here. We first start with Denko Sekka. This is a card where obviously we know what the card used to do in Shadows. It used to lock down Burning Abyss or Sertalinite players so that you could use all of your, shenanigans with Construct and Wenda, and your opponent couldn't do anything to respond. And when Shadows kind of started fading out of favor, people thought, no, Denko's use may be up. And obviously that was reflected by the card price going down. Okay, that makes sense. But then Necros came into the picture, and they were like, well, we can abuse Denko because we don't run no back row either. And we're just as good as Shadows were. In fact, we're even better. So then it would make sense that the card price went up. Now, what didn't make sense is why this card price ever went down, and now once again it's up. You see 38 bucks, so it's roughly, we're close to $40, but then it's like, if you look at the card price, you will see that it only started to rise recently, and just as recent as April 6th, which is like last week, it was only a $25 card. So it's like, even if you weren't sure if people were going to start main decking Denko, which it seems a lot of Necros players are main decking it, the card is so good now, even if you didn't know if you were going to main deck it, wasn't Denko always going to be considered kind of like a staple in the side deck against Sertalinites and Yosenju and all of your anti-meta decks like Evil Swarm that want to run like a trillion traps? Like it never seemed like Denko was going to lose its place in the deck. So it never made sense for the card to kind of devalue in price. Another example, and this is one I don't even understand. A lot of people were saying that I shouldn't have considered a Tellarknight deck to be budget. And honestly, when I got all my Tellarknight stuff, it really wasn't that much. I think I bought my 3 Denebs for $72 off of eBay, and I got I got 3 Alpha Novas for $41 from like Canada or something like that, with shipping included. So this one shocked me too. And, if you look at the YCS results, you'll see that Tellarknights was the second most successful deck. So, are people now realizing that Tellarknights are good just because the statistics show it? Or can we look at the last couple of formats and say, you know what, Tellarknights are always topping regionals. Once in a while, they'll go really far in a YCS. It's not like the deck has changed. It's not like the deck has gained any plays or any abilities. The deck has been relatively the same deck since the new challengers, or that hasn't really added anything. Now, when the Star Reps comes out, that's going to be different, but Alpha Nova, I mean, my God, this card is $34 now, and look at the prices. Alpha Nova used to be about a $14 card, so I don't understand if these are now players who, they're not sure, they're on the fence as to if they should pick up these decks, and they're the ones causing the inflation, or if it's just people who constantly, deck jump from one deck to one deck. Maybe somebody out there was like, I'm playing Burning Abyss going into this format, and then they see that Tellarknights took more spots and they're like, oh crap, I gotta pick up Tellarknight stuff, and that's what causes the inflation. But either way, I think it's really silly when we get these huge price increases on cards that we already know were good and absolutely nothing changes. It's not like a situation with Brio, or excuse me, with Valkyries, where Valkyries became more important than the deck. Denko Sekka didn't become more important than Necros. You could main deck her last format, you could still main deck her this format. Like, nothing really changed. So Tellarknight, Deneb, Alpha Nova, these are cards that you always needed 3 of, and so Tellarknights, they haven't really fluctuated in tiers. They've always been kind of close to tier 1, and that's where they're at now. They're kind of close to tier 1, so I don't really understand what changed. You let me know, guys, what you think is the reason for this, and is it something that you find to just be annoying? Because honestly, like, I would hate this shit if I was actually going into this format trying to pick up Tellarknight stuff, and I look at Deneb and I was like, okay, well, this card used to be $25 and now it's 40, but nothing changed. Alpha Nova used to be 15 bucks and now it's 34, and nothing changed in that. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching as always. Subscribing makes life happy.